and welcome to HiveScience Paleo Peak. Hello. Right now I'm at least going to have this once a month on HiveScience to do the Paleo Peak with updates on discoveries from the fossil record. So thank you guys for sticking around for me on Live from the Hive as well. Is that Stephanie Helms I see out there? Hello, sweetie, and Titan Uranus. Good to see you as well. And I'm glad you guys like this Paleo Scorpion. I'm going to do more like that because it's getting a lot of positive feedback. The Scorpion Winds of Change thing. And the Allosaurus I Get Knocked Down video did like phenomenal on Twitter. Not Twitter, on TikTok. It's like 10,000 views. I know that's not like, wow, but for me that's amazing. None of my other videos have ever broke 1,000. But yeah, so that'll be my closing video today because I'm really proud of that one too. But the Winds of Change Scorpions, yeah, it's supposed to give you that emotion. It's so if it makes you feel sad, it's supposed to. It's supposed to, but scorpions have changed through all these hundreds of millions of years, and they've persevered. Little changes from their aquatic ancestry to now, and all the different branches. Some of them didn't make it. Some of those branches didn't make it. You see a lot of them in that video of chelicerates that did not make it to crawl on the modern shores today. But we're not talking about scorpions today, though we may talk about scorpions sometime in the future. I am talking about something else. Hopefully, you all will recognize this creature. So before this is a clip from Swimming with Sea Monsters. I'm going to mute it because I don't want to get any strikes or anything. But this was a massive fish that lived a long time ago now. This thing's like considered to be like about 30 feet long, about 10 meters or 9 meters. A massive creature. They were considered to be slow swimmers. They've always been considered slow swimmers, but they were also considered to be the biggest predator of their biome, the biggest predator that had existed at the time. So this comes relevant to what we're actually going to be talking about today, because we're talking about some new research that just came out in February, but I finally had enough pieces put together to talk about it. And it's going to involve the size and scale of this creature. Now, years ago, not that many years ago, but some years ago, I think it was 2018, I was in Chicago, and I got to actually see the Dunkleosteus that they have there. They have the skull, the reconstruction. It's kind of the big famous one. It's the one that's big. And I used to argue with people on forums. I actually dug back. You spent all night last night going through the Wayback Machine. Even while I was in Gerstream, I was in another screen going through the Wayback Machine trying to find this conversation I had where somebody was talking about how Dunkleosteus was just this massive macro predator that could, destroy an orca and a great white shark and a megalodon and stuff. I'm like, no, Dunkleosteus was not. I've seen Dunkleosteus. That's not the guy. Dunkleosteus. I mean, I wouldn't swim with a Dunkleosteus, but orca is going to consider this thing just another food source. It's not even going to be a competition at all. So for a long time, they thought that these big old boys were going to be 30 feet long, 9 meters long. But let me read here, because Chunky Dunky, Cleveland's prehistoric sea monster, may have been shorter, stouter than once believed. About 360 million years ago, in the shallow subtropical waters above what is now the city of Cleveland, an armor-plated fish, many believe to be up to 30 feet long, ruled the seas. The species, Dunkleosteus terrelli, was Earth's first vertebrate super predator and lived during the Age of Fishes, the Devonian, and when North America was near the latitude of what is now Rio de Janeiro. But in nearly 150 years of research since fossilized remains of the prehistoric big fish were discovered on the shores of Lake Erie in 1867, scientists have made some incorrect assumptions about the size and the shark-like shape of Dunkleosteus. In research published this month, a Case Western Reserve University scientists suggest the length of this prehistoric predator may have been greatly exaggerated, that it was much shorter and chunkier. Cleveland mascot, the Ohio's top fish fossil, the Dunkleosteus, is already a strange fish, but it turns out the old size estimate resulted in us overlooking a lot of features that made the fish even stranger, like the very tuna-like torso, said Russell Engelman, a Case Western Reserve PhD student in biology and lead author on the study, published in the Journal of Diversity in February. Some colleagues have been calling it Chunky Dunk or Chunkleosteus after seeing my research. Engelman said he recognized the downside. The iconic Dunkleosteus may not be welcome news because the big fish is essentially Cleveland's mascot when it comes to paleontology. The species even had a Twitter account for a few years. As a native Clevelander, he said he originally had similar feelings. Most research on Dunkleosteus is based on specimens in the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, which has the largest and highest quality collection of Dunkleosteus remains in the world. Its name honors both former museum curator David Dunkel and a local business owner, J. Terrell, who discovered the fossil species. Dunkleosteus is such a homegrown icon that in 2020, the Ohio General Assembly declared Dunkleosteus terrelli the state's fossil fish. Even so, little research has been done on the fish since the 1930s, Engelman said. Without reliable size estimates, not much could be said about Dunkleosteus, specifically beyond look at that big scary fish, Engelman said. These length estimates were an example of something that just slipped by everyone's notice because it was assumed the fish had been well studied. Most estimates of the species' length were based on hard evidence, Engelman said, weren't based on hard evidence. That's because Dunkleosteus was the type of extinct fish called Arthrodire. Technically we are too, so I won't get into that though, but we would be. Anyway, unlike modern fish, Arthrodires like Dunkleosteus had bony armored heads but internal skeletons made of cartilage. This means only the heads of these animals were preserved as fossils, leaving the size and shape a mystery. The new study proposes estimating the length based on a 24-inch long head minus the snout, considered a way of measuring that's consistent among groups of living fish and smaller relatives of Dunkleosteus known from complete skeletons. The reasoning behind this study can be summed up in one simple observation. Engelman said, short fish generally have short heads and long fish generally have long heads. Based on this method, Engelman concluded Dunkleosteus was only 11 to 13 feet long, much shorter than any researcher had proposed before. Wrecking ball of the deep. Dunkleosteus has often been constructed assuming the body shape was like a shark, Engelman said, but the short body and shape made the body armor almost met Dunkleosteus was likely much chunkier. An 11-foot Dunkleosteus is essentially the same weight as a 15-foot great white shark, Engelman said. These things were built like wrecking balls. The new proportions for Dunkleosteus may look goofy until you realize it had the same body shape as a tuna and a mouth twice as large as a great white. Yeah, I've seen the skulls. Their mouths are huge. Their mouths are absolutely enormous. Like you could fit a trash can in there. But although the reduced size of Dunkleosteus may seem disappointing, Engelman said, it was still probably the biggest animal that existed on Earth up to that point in time, and these new estimates make it possible to do so many types of analysis on Dunkleosteus that it was thought would never be possible. This is a bitter pill that has to be swallowed, so that now we can get to the fun stuff. Patricia Princehouse, Associate Director of Institute of... Oh, I thought that was... Okay. This fresh take on the legendary Dunkleosteus sea monster shows there's still a lot of brand new breakthroughs waiting to be discovered in the world of paleontology, even with famous species. Princehouse said the Multidisciplinary Institute initiates and conducts scientific research in origins-related sciences and has promoted work undertaken by Engelman and other students. Engelman conducted his research under advisor Darren Croft, professor of anatomy at the Case Western Reserve School of Medicine, who also advises in biology in the College of Arts and Science. So, yeah, new Dunkleosteus just dropped. He's short and chunky, and I love it. I think it looks great. Look at that thick boy. Still nothing to tangle with. You don't want to jump in the water with this guy, but pretty cool creature. All right, so thank you so much for joining me and live from the Hive today. Hopefully this answers some of my questions that I had way back when. I'm going to go look at the paper now. I've only read a couple of the articles written about it and looked at the abstract. So I'll have to go look at the paper and see what I think about the new measurements. Now distracting you, we're underwater. Checking about any questions or anything from the audience. Anyway, yeah, so roughly 10 meters. Yeah, but it wasn't really that long. It was only, let's see, at this it's going to be, what they say, 13 feet. So that'd be what, like 4 meters up to maybe just about 4 meters, close to 4 meters. Anyway, yeah, so still a big chunky fish. Thank you so much for joining me in the Hive today, though. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.